Leagues are pretty great, you know? There are so many classics, like the Pokémon League, League of Nations, League of Legends, Raid Shadow Legends. But our boy Ash has competed in not 1, not 8, but 7 different leagues. What about the Orange League? In these leagues, Ash has fought many tough opponents, such as rivals, cheaters, and whatever the hell this person is. But today, we're going to be ranking all of these leagues from worst to best. I won't be going over every individual battle, rather just the highlights, and I'll explain why my opinions are the way they are. If you want a complete rundown on every league, I'd suggest watching Lumia's trainer Zach's league reviews. But let's get into it. Here is every Pokemon league ranked from worst to best. The Indigo League. Not gonna lie, I don't feel too great about putting the first ever league at the bottom, but I genuinely feel this league was just terrible. It starts off alright, with Ash's Krabby evolving and absolutely sweeping Mandy, but we don't see another battle in its entirety until round 4. Now, I feel Ash vs Jeanette was definitely the best battle, but even then it felt kind of gimmicky, with Jeanette's Bellsprout easily defeating Bulbasaur and Pikachu before Muck was able to one-shot it. And Ash vs Richie. I don't know what's worse, the fact that Ash lost due to a sleeping Charizard, or the fact that the entire battle was crammed into the last quarter of an episode. The rest of the episode was dedicated to Ash trying to escape Team Rocket, and this is the Indigo League's biggest problem, as Team Rocket just wouldn't leave. It almost felt like Team Rocket was the focus of the arc, not the actual league itself. Luckily, they would be heavily downplayed in the leagues to come, but honestly, after this first league arc, there was nowhere to go but up. The Univille League. This league shook things up by including a qualifying round to actually compete in the main event. Why this wasn't just considered round 1, I have no idea, but Ash immediately gets paired against his rival Trip in a one-on-one battle. I get why they did this, sort of as a rematch between Pikachu and Snivy, aka the most hated battle in the entire series, but I still feel they should have had a full battle, and I don't even like Trip that much as a rival. Obviously Ash wins and moves on to the main event, and from here, the league was actually pretty alright, with some cool battles such as Cameron vs Bianca, and Ash vs Stefan. It's funny because I said his name wrong. Oh yeah, they also dedicated an entire episode to Axu getting lost, but the less said about that, the better. But then we get to Ash vs Cameron, which seems to be going alright at first, but then Cameron reveals he only brought 5 Pokemon to the battle. Well, at least Ash has this one in the bag. Ash lost this battle, and there was also some guy named Virgil who ended up winning the league, but he wasn't really important. The Hoenn League. This league had a huge plethora of battles, which was awesome, but so many were against generic never-before-seen trainers. Although Ash vs Katie was a great battle, especially the end with Grovyle vs Walrein. And it was really cool seeing some double battles, shaking up the normal league formula a bit. But the league really took off with Ash vs Morrison, in which Morrison had trouble bringing himself to battle a friend. He was nearly disqualified, but Ash basically yelled at him not to give up, so instead he gave it his all. This is what I love about Ash's character, as he would rather have a great battle than an assured victory. Then in the end, Pikachu lost to Tyson's completely broken Meowth, so yeah, it was kind of a disappointing end. Overall, I enjoyed this league, but honestly, it was pretty forgettable. The Kalos League. This league is kind of weird, as we only got to see 2 of Ash's battles in their entirety, but they were definitely 2 of the series' best battles. Ash vs Sawyer was great, as it showed how Ash was able to reclaim his throne in their rivalry after losing their last battle. And Ash vs Alon was an overall great battle, especially Greninja vs Charizard, which Greninja totally should have won by the way, but whatever. What's interesting is that this league went straight into the Team Flare arc, which acted as the actual climax of the XY series. I actually really liked this, as the battle for Lumio City was in my opinion one of the best arcs, if not the best. Overall it was a good league that led into an incredible arc, but it did feel pretty rushed. The Johto League. This league was different as it had round-robin pods, with a win-lose-tie format. This was cool as trainers weren't eliminated when they lost, and Ash was able to achieve an XO1 record to make cut. That's right, I used to play competitive TCG, I know terminology. Anyway, Ash finally had a full battle with Gary in this league, one of the closest in the entire series. In the end, Ash's Charizard managed to take out both Gary's Golem and Blastoise, definitely a step up from his previous league performance. This battle was amazing, as Ash finally defeated his rival. It only took 5 seasons. Ash vs Harrison was also a great battle, with Charizard just barely losing to Blaziken. This was the perfect way to show off a new Pokemon, and this even led to Ash deciding to travel to the Hoenn region. It's at least a better reason for going to a new region than like, I don't know, Mr. Mime winning a contest or something stupid like that. The Sano League. See, I can't put this league at number 1 because I don't want the nostalgia police storming down my door, but this league was just so good, and seeing it before the others, it kind of gave me an overly high expectation on what league should be. What was great about this league was Ash bringing back old Pokemon instead of just relying on his Sinnoh team. Ash vs Nando and Ash vs Conway, despite both being 3-on-3, were super exciting and both came down to the wire. We then got to see Paul absolutely sweep Barry before going up against Ash. And this is still my favorite battle of the entire series. It's just non-stop action and great strategies from both sides. But of course the icing on the cake is Infernape vs Electivire, with the two staring each other down before Electivire finally falls. The Pokemon Paul had previously released actually managed to defeat his strongest member. Now, then we have Ash vs Tobias, which many consider to be a disappointing and somewhat cheap ending. And yeah, I can understand why, but I feel it definitely shows just how far Ash has come as a trainer, as Sceptile and Pikachu were both able to defeat legendary Pokemon. Overall, this was a fantastic league, and a perfect end to the Diamond and Pearl series. And of course, the #1 league is the Aloha League. Aloha League. God, that's hard to say. The tournament starts off with a massive battle royale of 151 participants, where only the top 16 were able to advance to the main event. Sort of like a Pokemon version of Tetris 99? Oh hey, that actually kind of exists. Of course the main cast all advances, and there are some really meaningful battles, all of which we get to see in their entirety. I especially love Jesse vs James, Mallow vs Lana, and Lily vs Gladion. All of these matches had personal feelings behind them, making them more than just Pokemon battles. And Ash vs Guzma became one of my favorite battles of all time. Guzma was viewed as undefeated before Ash managed to take him down, causing him to realize that he wasn't the perfect trainer Team Skull saw him as. But despite this, they still wanted Guzma as their leader, and he decides to keep training to become even stronger. And Ash vs Gladion in the finals was also a great battle, with both sides constantly one-upping each other with their strategies. And our boy finally got a league win. It's about time. But the finals weren't the peak of the league. That was the exhibition match between Ash and Kukui. We all thought Torracat vs Incineroar would be the culmination of this battle, but then Pikachu vs Tapu Koko happened. Best league, hands down. But let me know what your favorite or least favorite leagues are in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a great holiday season. In my last video, I said I was doing a giveaway over Twitter for a $10 eShop card, and I'm here to announce the result. The winner is Twitter user @PrimoCrusader, who said he would use the money to get Celeste. And if you haven't played Celeste, do yourself a favor and get on that. It's actually half off on the eShop right now. I swear I'm not sponsored, I just really love this game. Okay, bye.